to leave the game and come back in it. Had to spend time with God, get my mind reinvented. Even though I was repenting, it didn't feel authentic. While the show kept going with the devil, had my mind in submission. He had me.
It's your boy CT Psalmist, and we're now keeping it a buck.
Welcome everybody to Keeping It a Buck. I'm your host, Honor from Laughatlifeo, OLALO, as you already know how I do. And today I have a special guest. I know all of y'all be saying, but Honor, every week you say you got a special guest. Yeah, but today I really got a special guest. Every guest is special that comes on. Today I got the one and only. I got the Mr. Podcaster. He's an artist. You know, not only that, but he has a word for y'all. Matter of fact, not even a word. He has something to say to porn. Like, yo, porn, back the heck up, porn, because you ain't got no stronghold over here. The one and only. He goes by CT Psalmist. CT Psalmist, what's up, brother? Step up to the plate. Let them know who you is, where you from, what set you claim, what you do, man. All that good stuff. You got a TikTok dance, man. Just let them know who you is, bro.
All right. So, thank you for that that wonderful fire introduction, man. That's what's up, man. So, my name is Gary E. Shepard Jr. I go by CT Psalmist. I am born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm the oldest of 5, 3 brothers and 1 sister. I am also a husband and father to 2 boys, Nathan and Mason. What else can I say? I'm a man of God. I go to Crown of Glory Church of God in Christ, where my pastor is Pastor Jonathan Aljo. And I've been sober from porn addiction, soon to be 5 years.
Amen.
So,
amen. So, my brother, listen, I'm gonna call you C Psalmist. I'm gonna call you C Psalmist for the rest of the show. So this is the part where I give a disclaimer. Basically, what it is for you and for everybody that's watching and any future guests. This is the part where I give my disclaimer, which basically what it is, man, keeping it a buck, we put everything on the table.
gotcha.
Everything goes on the table. If I touch something and you don't want to talk about, all you got to say is, Honor, listen, man, I don't want to answer that question. I'll respect it. But if I have to go buy a wig, throw it on, and get my TMZ bag on, I'm going to have to do that. But so far I haven't had to, and I haven't bought the wig yet, but I will soon. Maybe for Christmas if my wife is listening. But man, brother, it's a pleasure having you. I've been looking I've been looking forward to speaking to you because I've heard some great things about you, and I've heard some great things about what you've done and what you're doing. And before we get into that, man, I want to ask you a question. How did you get where you, we lost him. Hold on. He's about to be back. We having some technical difficulties right quick, but he's about to be back. Satan can't stop us today. Not today, Satan. Nah.
No.
No, I wanted to ask you is this, how long were you raised in a church, or like how long have you been a follower of Jesus?
Well, I was born and raised in church. I was raised in the church all the way up to age 12. That's when I backslid and I didn't go to church anymore. I think mainly because after my Uncle Larry died, because he was like a big influence in my life. And so after my Uncle Larry died, I had like lost interest in it. And then, being a preteen, your mind becomes more mature to the things of the world. So, I started to lose interest in church, and eventually, like I said, age 12, that's when I stopped going to church all the way up to age 21 is when I came back. So,
what led you back?
A friend of mine's a really good dude, man, that I owe my salvation to. I mean, salvation comes from God, but this brother, his name is Solomon Maple. I went to middle school with him. And me and him were like the silliest guys in the class. But you know, I haven't seen him in a long time. And one time when I was working at Travelers, I seen him on Main Street, and you know, we linked up again. And it's like he was different. You know, he wasn't the guy that I knew in middle school. But you know, we were grown now. We're like early 20s. You know, living life, and then you know, come to find out, you know, he's living for Christ, and I'm like, oh man. Now, mind you, I was raised in the church, but I didn't want to hear it, man. I was out there, man. You know, I'm just keeping it real. Like you said, keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. I didn't want to hear that, man. I was, you know, I was chasing women. I was living my life. I had my own apartment with my two best friends, so we was living like bachelors. So I wasn't trying to hear nothing about Christ, but you know, it seemed like whenever I would try to get away from him, God always put something or someone in my way to where I couldn't get away from him.
Wow.
And this happened every time I tried to be like, okay, I see him, I'm about to try to get out of here. And before you know it, somebody comes to me with a question, because I did security in downtown at Travelers. So I couldn't ignore people when they asked me a question, because security for Travelers.
Right?
No. Yeah. Yeah, so eventually, you know, he was persistent, you know, and even when I would avoid his phone calls sometimes, or I would act like I'm not home, you know, he still came through, and, you know, he invited me to church. You know, I would go, and of course, you know, sometimes I'll fall asleep in church. You know, that's how the enemy work, you know what I'm saying? If you finally get in church, you're gonna do something to distract you, whether it's something on your mind or you falling asleep. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And so, you know, after a while, after his persistence, you know, I finally started to give my life back to God. I think I took my salvation serious in 2003. That's when I really started to take it serious, because I was like back and forth, you know, in church, still out there having sex and right, you know, and just not really fully committed, you know. But 2003, I decided I'm gonna go hard for salvation and live right for him. And I think what helped too was the fact that, you know, me being raised in the church, you know, it kind of brought back memories of when I went to church. As a kid, I went to church with mostly family. So it was my aunt, my Uncle Larry, and all my cousins, you know, so it kind of like brought back memories that kind of helped me, you know, settle back in, you know?
Yeah.
So
let me ask you this. What was, obviously when you backslid, because only reason why I asked when you left the church, now I won't even say backslid, because you were raised in a church. When you left the church, right? When you said, I'm done with God for the moment. What did you get into? What was that lifestyle like? Like, like what kind, like difficulties type? Because I've spoken to people, and the only reason why I asked is because I'm seeing like the kind of like the little bit of the common ground. There's certain I've had brothers that been involved in it, that been raised in the church majority of life, and they backslid, and some of them have had some crazy stories. Some of them have some, what they would say is not as crazy, but to the church it is a crazy story.
Right.
I know, like, you know, Quest Thorough, right?
Oh, yeah, that's my dude.
Right. When he was on the show, you know, he was raised in the church, but you know, he kind of like backed off from God. Not, you know, he got involved in a couple of things here and there, nothing too crazy.
Right.
I had another brother that he was raised in the church, brought up in the church, and the craziest thing to him that he said that was like, oh, like a crazy off factor was just going to the movies and not going to church. I had another brother that was raised in the church, and when he backslid, it was like in high school, and he just like stopped, you know, really just paying attention to God, started doing like kind of secular music and getting involved like that. What was your, like, when you walked away from God for that little time period, what was life like? Because I think I ask that because I know people that parents are pastors and their kids, they be acting wild sometimes. Like, bro, like,
Oh yeah, PKs,
like, I'm obviously I'm not gonna say no name out of respect of people, but I know,
of course.
I know a homegirl. I know she's not my homegirl. She was my wife homegirl. Her dad pastor. She out in these streets, man. Like, she was like, listen. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, like, what was your experience outside of the church? Like, it.
Well, I can tell you, I'm definitely not a PK kid. I was born out of wedlock, so I just put that right out there. Definitely born out of wedlock. My life outside of church was just pure fornication, left and right, man. Cause yeah, it was that's all it was, man. Just fornication left and right, and just living for the moment, living for like the next opportunity to to have sex. Porn addiction, sex addiction, all that. That's how I lived, man. I mean, I would go to sleep with it on my mind. I would wake up with it on my mind, and even after an encounter, it stayed in my mind. It was like 24/7. You know, I definitely was a sex addict, and it was like that. I was like that for until I was cold turkey in like 2003. So I think I was safe for about maybe 2 or 3 years before then. That's all I would do. Just next opportunity, I couldn't wait for it. I lived for the moment. And I'm 20 years old and I'm living with my 2 best friends, and that's all we're just, that's all we're living for. You're living for the moment and you're living for the opportunity, and that was our life, And it was. I won't say that I was miserable in sin, because I was. I'll be lying if I say I was miserable in sin.
The enemy's really trying to get us today, but we're gonna get him right back. He's having some difficulties, but we back. Hey, yeah, let's go.
So you caught that last half?
So somewhat. What do I catch last? You said that you couldn't sit here and say that it wasn't, that you weren't miserable in sin, and then it cut off.
Oh yeah. I won't dare say that I was miserable in sin, because it wouldn't have took me 7.5 years to come back to Christ, But looking back in hindsight, even though I was enjoying the moment, I was empty still. I was always empty because it just wasn't fulfilling. The flesh never be satisfied. No matter how much you give unto it, no matter how much you satisfy the urges, the flesh is never satisfied. And so it took for me to move back to my mom's house for me to calm down with the fornicating, because I wouldn't dare disrespect my mom. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, when I went back to my mom before I got married to my wife, I had the couch, so really couldn't do much. I really couldn't do much.
Nah, I hear you. We're gonna get back to the porn subject in a second, because I know you do a lot when it comes to that. But what I wanted to ask you was, your boy that led you back to the church, what was it that really led you back? Like, obviously he was a big staple. Obviously he played a major part, right? God used him to play a major part in you coming back. But what that moment when you finally surrendered and you said, all right, Lord, I'm coming back. What was that? What, like, was it a combination of things? Like, really, like, what was it? What led to that moment?
Just feeling empty and unfulfilled. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got tired of feeling that way. It's like I was never satisfied, man. You know, like I said, with every encounter I had, it was just, yeah, it never satisfied me. I was a slave to it, and I got tired of feeling that way. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like I said, I started remembering when I.
Man, listen. The enemy trying to play. In Jesus' name, we rebuke him. He'll be back. Man, listen, man. If y'all haven't followed CT Psalmist, man, you'll make sure y'all go follow him on Instagram, CT Psalmist. All the description, all his information will be on the description below. We're just waiting for him to come back. But in the meantime, listen, man, there's one thing that I've really been noticing that I was guilty of this myself. I always thought that those that were raised in a church, had pastor kids, or had family always involved in the church, I always used to frown upon them and look down on them because they would go and, I would see certain people go do certain things, I'm like, yo, like, I thought you was in the church, dog. Why you out here doing? But the one thing that I'm noticing and I'm realizing as I keep talking to more and more people that were involved in the church, man, it's easy to walk away. The enemy gets you one way or another, and we got him back.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Nah, man, listen, don't worry about it. It happens, man. This is why we do it. We keep it in the buck, man.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Buck. So you were saying, the last thing you were saying is that you were talking about how you was coming back to the church.
Yeah, I was remembering how it was, growing up in church and stuff like that. And like the people, they were nice, they were nice. They treated me well. And and he stuck by me in every step of the way, man, And I respected him because of that, you know what I'm saying? Because, a lot of people, knowing that somebody really don't want to be bothered with you, but you're still like persistent. I respected that. Like, man, I know this dude. No, I don't want to be bothered, but he just kept coming, man, because he has a good heart. That's the type of person that he is, And so, that I just got tired of living. I just got tired of living that life. Yeah, empty, man, unfulfilled, man. And I knew I needed to change,
Yeah.
And then not only that, now that I think about it, I remember my grandmother, because like I said, I was raised in the church. So my Uncle Larry, he would come pick us up for church. Me, my brother, and sometimes my mother would go, and all of my cousins. So we would all pack up in a van. He would take us there. And I remember when I was in my backslidden state, and my grandmother, like, she looked me in the eyes. Because, sometimes I would stay over, her house sometimes to, get away from, the apartment with my boys. And one day she looked me in the eyes and she said, she had a Floridian accent. So she would call me Lo Guerra. So she said, Lo Guerra, when you giving your life back to God? And I said, one day I will, Grandma. And she said, don't let it be too late. And that stuck with me still to this day. Those words stuck with me. Just remembering that when I left and I went back home, it stuck with me. And it's just little things like that it eventually comes back, and it gives you, and it helps you. It helps you make the right decision. Like the Bible says, like what the Bible says is true. Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. It's a true saying. You plant that seed in a child, man, they'll remember it when they get older, So yeah.
I love that you said that because I love that you said that. First off, man, shout out to Grandma. Yo, why is it that grandmothers Like they just know like the right things to say just to hit your soul and like just knock you out with words.
Yeah, man.
I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, you know, train a child, because I did go into your Spotify account and I
Hmm.
did check out your music today. Um,
Okay.
I refreshed, you know, because I did when I first started following you, started following back, I was like, oh, this dude's an artist. Let me go check him out. And today I had to just refresh my memory. Because there's two songs that I do want to talk to you about. Um,
Okay.
one song, right? Well, let me ask you this first off before I say what I want to say. Um, your style, well, yeah, I'm gonna say it first. Your style, the way that your style of rapping, you remind me of my boy Ronald Rosario. Yo, it's just a
Okay.
different sound. You guys have your own sound. It's not, you know, you
Hmm.
don't try to conform to what's out there. You know, you're like you find your lane and you stay to it. You have a song called Training a Child. Um,
Train them up. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
go into a little detail about that for people that haven't heard the song and don't know it. Like, what was the thought? Obviously, I know the thought process behind it, but
Mhm.
break that down, because when I was listening to it, I was like, yo, this, yeah, it's dope. I like it because the message
Thank you.
behind it, you're
Appreciate it.
you know what? I'm gonna shut up because then I'm just gonna give it away. I'm gonna let you go ahead and
Yo, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. What people don't understand is that how I was introduced to Christian hip hop was through Cross Movement. Um, Human Emergency was the first album. Fire. Yes, still to this day, fire. And I heard that, and I was like, what? I didn't even know. Listen, I'm a hip hop head. Okay, I was a heavy hip hop head since I was 8 years old. So I would go like, this is how you know I'm a hip hop head. I would come home from school, turn on BET,
Mhm.
and BET was on if my mom didn't watch anything till about 9. Now nobody could touch the TV if I was watching BET because I was watching, Rap City. I was watching all that.
Ticket
Yo,
Basement,
yeah,
106
Ticket in the
Bars.
Basement. Listen, you name it, man. I was watching it till it was time to go to bed. Now, if my mom had to watch something, then of course, mom trumps me, so I had to give up the remote. But nobody was touching that remote, man. And so what happened was, how I came up with Train 'Em Up. It was during the early stages of the pandemic.
Okay.
So that's how I came up with my EP to Me in My House, is during the pandemic. So I was just thinking about family values. So um, I was thinking about, when I wrote it, I was thinking about how it's so much craziness out there that kids come across when they go on the internets, um, craziness, man, like videos and the way shows are now. Shows are not the same as they used to be.
Mhm.
Is everything is so perverse now, and so that's how Train Them Up came about. Like I said, train them up in the way they should go, so when they old, they remember, and the truth will still hold, and live out the seeds that were sown. Train them up. Train them up, meaning we got to instill the word of God in them. We got to instill the fear of the Lord in them. So that was my thing. And then just remembering from when I was being raised as a kid, sitting in Sunday school and listening to the Bible stories and the coloring books and stuff like that. I remember, once again, my grandmother, she me and my brother, the second oldest, we used to fight a lot. And so what happened was, whenever we would fight, she would call me in the living room and she would have me read Bible stories to her.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so she would have me read Bible stories to her, and then that eventually helped me as I got older, because like when I was in elementary, I was reading. I was in I think the 5th grade, reading at a 10th grade level.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. All through
yeah,
reading Bible stories.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I was the highest reader, highest level for reading in my whole elementary school. Yeah.
What's up? I'll applaud it. That's what's up.
Yeah. So Train 'Em Up is definitely a special song to me because it's dedicated to my sons, and it's dedicated to all the kids being raised in the church, and all the people that took part in instilling in the children. So it's dedicated to a lot of people. So
yeah, I'll be honest. When I first heard it,
Mhm.
when I first heard it, I was like, "Yo, this is dope!" Like it was catchy. Then when I reheard it again today, like I had a different like mindset when I heard it.
Right.
Because I try to the way that I listen to music, I listen to it the first time, and if it catches me, I'll listen to it again.
Right.
But then there's music. Even I'll even go back to like the cross movement days, like when
Yeah.
they did what's the name of the album? Oh, Holy Culture, I think it's called.
Yes. Yes.
With we're gonna live forever. That
Yeah. Yes.
I went back to that album
Mhm.
not that long ago, and I was listening to that. I was like, I can't believe I missed so many gems
Yeah.
back then, because when I listen to music the second, the third time around, I there's different mindsets that I'm in. So
Right.
the first time I'll listen to let's see what it's about. The second time will be so when I listened to your song, Train 'Em Up today, right? I was like, I was like, let me throw this on, to refresh my memory.
Right.
Because like I said, I don't write nothing down when it comes to I'll write down a couple things here and there, but like, I try to do everything off of memory.
Right.
So when I was like, let me throw these tracks on again so it could be fresh in my brain. And we could bring it, as the Holy Spirit just leads the conversation. If one of the songs come into mind, boom, out, and sure enough, you talked about, train them up, as a child, and when I heard it today, I was like, yo, I see that scripture throughout that whole song.
Right.
And I thought that was so dope because let's face it, there's some rappers that they throw scripture and they're really cheesy at how they do it. There's some rappers there's some artists that don't even throw scripture in there. You're like, yo, where did you pull that one from? But if you're knowledgeable, if you're knowledgeable of the word,
right,
you're able to tell right away, oh, that's the first passage that comes into mind. Right? If you're not knowledgeable, it makes you think like, what is he talking about?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really dope how you did that.
I appreciate it, man.
I do want to say that I kind of found your style, how not just style, but like your theme of how you do your music. I know there was a couple. There's one that you just released. Pixel Love.
Yes.
Yo, I heard it the first time and I was kind of like dead air. I was like, yo, that's dope. Then I heard it again. I'm like, because I had to repeat it again. I said, wait. What do you say? Because there was like the second verse. I'm like, oh, hold on. You mentioned Instagram, Facebook. I was like, wait. I'm like, let me bring this back. Like,
yeah.
And I realized that in that first verse, you get really deep into falling to that whole lustful trap of that Jezebel spirit.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And then I started listening to some of your other stuff that you did, and you talk a lot about it, which I enjoy because not many people are bold enough to sit there and talk about it. And I'm gonna let the cat out the bag. I'm gonna say it how it is.
Right.
What talk about is the porn.
Yeah.
And not a lot of, and it pains me because I'm glad that you do, because
Mhm.
I don't hear a lot of rappers, a lot of CHH rappers talk about it.
Right.
There's been a couple few. I know KB did one in the form of a letter.
Mhm.
Who else was there? Was a couple other artists that I know that they did it back in the day, but no one's really just like emphasized how dangerous and what it's like. And
Yeah.
and that's the one thing that when I was listening to your songs, I was
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, he's really
Right.
emphasizing and making the mark. Like it's like that trumpet blow, like, yo, I'm warning y'all,
Yeah.
this is what happens with this. But before we get into that, yo, let's talk
Mhm.
a little bit about that Pixel Love, dog. Like that Pixel Love, I like that song a lot. I was like, yo,
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
you started off with giving that description, being at a certain age, having that black box with the black, the tube with
Yeah, black screen, green font.
yeah. I was like, oh, he's bringing me back. Like, and you created a picture in my
Mhm.
mind. I was like, oh shoot.
What's up, man?
I remember when I first watched porn
Mm.
and I got addicted. Like that brought me back to like, oh, you know what? That's how that really like it brought back like also that's how it started for me.
Mhm.
Um, not that many people. My story is coming out soon.
Right, right.
And my story's coming out soon. Soon. I don't know when yet, but it's coming.
Okay.
But I'm an ex porn addict. I'm an ex sex addict.
Mm. Okay.
And
That's what's up, man.
we'll,
Hey, that.
we'll it's a lot of people don't realize this, man.
Mhm.
Um, so many men fall
Yeah,
to pornography, and so many men don't know how to get out.
that's true.
So many men, I not, you know what? Let me take that back. So many men and women.
Oh yeah, of course.
The
Yeah.
women. For some reason, when it comes to porn, people automatically think that it's
It's
just
just
men.
as men. Yes, women that struggle too. Oh yeah.
Both. And
Yep.
so many people don't know how to get out of it. I know so many people that try to struggle, that fight, and
Yeah.
especially in the body of
Especially.
um. And this is why I wanted to get you on, because I've heard some things about what you do, and I remember before we get into see, I'm okay. I'm letting the Holy Spirit lead here. I
Yeah.
remember,
Hey.
I remember it was earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Post, and I said, "How long have y'all been free?" And I said, "Men." I believe it said, I was like, "Brother, men, how long have y'all been free from porn?" Or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
you responded and you said 5 years, going strong, blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, cool. That inspired me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I did that, I posted that up, is because I wanted to start something, and
Mm-hmm.
we could talk. We'll talk after the show. I don't want to give away too many details
Yeah, of course.
to come. But it was really interesting. And then I believe it was it Quest? I think it was either Quest or DJ Ready.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. We were having a conversation. They're like, yeah, you know that CT Psalmist, he has a podcast talking about how to get free from porn and all that.
Mm.
Which we're going to get into, but my question is, how did porn start for you? And that leads to Pixel Love, obviously, because you get that description.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. Like,
Okay. So, you know what? It's funny that you said talk about that, how I came about it. And I was telling you about how I was trying to get on IG to, because my new I'm working on my new single. It was the Bunny Book.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so
That okay.
yeah, so that ties into what I'm about to say, how I got into it. So I was between like 8 and 9 years old when the first encounter happened. Well, with my encounter with porn. So what happened was, me and my brothers, we were wrestling. It was me, the second oldest, and then my younger brother. Um, I was like 8 or 9. Like the second oldest was like 7 or 8, and then of course my little brother was like probably like 5, 6. So we were like wrestling in the hallway, and you know how you wrestle with your brothers. Me being the oldest, I got to show them that I'm strong. I got to hold my title down. So I'm sitting there wrestling with them, like we just throwing each other against the wall,
I'm the
trying
old,
to pin each other.
I'm the oldest myself, so trust me, I know. I still hold the championship.
Yes, sir. You already know. You already know. You already know. But anyways, so we're wrestling, and then we spill into my mother's room. And once from there, like the magazines is like all over the bed. So we stop. We're like, boom, we fall on them. We stop, and we're like, just flipping page after page, just flipping, and it's like, oh, okay, like not realizing that it's registering in the subconscious. But we're young, so we don't know any better. We just, and then later on, of course, that seed that was planted, began to uproot from there. You know what I'm saying? Once I became a teenager, and once I started realizing the beauty of women, it just took off from there.
Yeah.
So
Man, it's yeah, I won't even get into my story tonight. Maybe later.
yeah.
So in the song, right?
Hmm.
You talk about the screen, the black screen, right? But then in the second verse, you switch it over to YouTube and Instagram and all that. Break down. Can you break down the purpose of that song, Pixel Love, the motivation behind it, what
Hmm.
every, because there's so much gems in those, in that
Right.
if you just put it as noise, you'll lose a lot of it.
Yeah.
And then you bring it back, you're like, oh shoot, hold on, what'd he say? Like,
Right.
I really like that song a lot. I ain't gonna lie.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. I mean, it's when I do songs, I like to do songs to make people like think and reflect. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily like focus on getting like results to where it's like numbers or people saying oohs and ahs. I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm really, when I do it because I want people to reflect and think and just, like, okay, I see what he's saying. Like, man, like how you said, like you had to go back and hear it again to figure out, what I was saying, and the inspiration behind Pixel Love is basically I'm talking about phone addiction, but then the other addictions fall into place with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about how we so consumed with our phone, that we constantly have it. I forgot what they say. The research shows like people look at their phone like a couple hundred times a day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that was my inspiration behind it. And then of course, social media, that's an addiction, because you go on Instagram, like, okay, you got likes, and all right, this person posts that, or this person posts that. And so that's why I put it all together, like. And then the phone is easy access to everything. You got the internet, and the most porn consumption, it comes from the phone.
Yep, facts.
From the phone, because see, a doctor broke it down. Dr. What's her name? Leah. I love her. She's a neurologist, and she talks about porn all the time, like the different ways it affects you and stuff like that. And forgot what she said. she breaks it down very well. She breaks it down very well, like how it affects you and stuff like that, and even offers to, to counsel you and stuff like that. So that was basically my theme, like just porn addiction and cell phone addiction, because it's so many addictions out there, and it's crazy how they just all link up with each other like a family. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I kind of did. I kind of put it in the song. It was like, this is the addiction family. you know,
Yeah.
you got social media addiction, you got phone addiction, you got every type of addiction, man. There's so many out there,
Yeah.
So
Nah, you got that, and then another song I want to highlight, which I like a lot, is I Hate You.
yes.
I like that song a lot.
Thank you.
Explain that one.
Well,
I mean,
shout out.
when you
Mhm.
listen to it, it's kind of self-explanatory,
Right.
but for those that haven't listened to it, break it down for them, please.
Okay. Well, first of all, shout out to my man 2B. He the one that produced Train 'Em Up and I Hate You. He produced those two for me. So shout out to him, definitely. So I Hate You, I dropped that 2018. That song is like special to me, because that was like really, that one was like my breakout song.
Mm.
That was my breakout song, because I did release, XXX Voice. I forget. I haven't looked at my songs in a while, but I know I Hate You was my breakout song, because like 2017, like I was going through a tough time, man. When I say a storm, man, it was like a tsunami in my life, man. Everything was like crashing down. You know what I'm saying? From all the years of being porn addicted and trying to hide it from my wife, and yeah, that year was so rough. So 2018 was when things was just getting better, and so that's why I wrote I Hate You. Like I hate what you did to me, how you nearly destroyed me, how you had my mind, how I could have almost lost my wife, I could have almost, I was facing divorce. A lot of people don't know that I was going through a lot. I was going through a lot. I was facing divorce, and I could have lost the opportunity to watch my kids grow by divorce, and you know I could have missed spending time with them, or having to schedule when I can see my sons, and when I would have to drop them off, and yeah, all those different things. What I'm saying, inspired me to write that song. Like the second verse, when I said, when I dealt with porn, it was like I had no heart and brain, numb to cries like how doses of Novocaine replaced the blood in my veins. It's basically saying that it made me a zombie. Like I was cold to my wife's emotions. She was crying out to me, but I didn't receive it because I was emotionally dead. I was a zombie. I was a zombie. I was just a shell. And so that's why I wrote that song. Like, I hate you, and I would never go back to you. And to this day, I kept my word. I hate it with a passion. When I think about all I could have lost, man, that's like a defense mechanism that kick in my head, like, don't even try it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I feel you. I was in that years ago. I was in that predicament as well. I was addicted to porn.
Yeah.
Since a very young age. I'm gonna give part of my story real quick. I'm just gonna say real quick. I was like maybe five or six. When my parents divorced, we used to live in a city, and there was this girl that was around 11 years old. I remember her name too. Not gonna put her on blast.
Nah, don't do that.
You ruined me. Nah, all jokes aside, I remember moving, because we lived in the city, so we lived in the Bronx. So we went from one apartment building. My grandmother lived like literally the next building right over. So we just had to lug stuff from like the 6th floor all the way down to like the next building, basement
Wow.
type status. And
Mhm.
girl, she was helping out, whatever, whatnot. My mom. Long story. Long story short, man. She's the first woman that I touched body part.
Oh wow.
She grabbed my hand and made me touch her private parts.
Oh.
And I fell in love with that after that. I thought I was a man.
Wow,
I
that
was
was
5, 6 years
inappropriate.
old. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Man.
remember having my first sexual encounter when I was 9.
Wow.
And
Jeez.
and even before that, I remember, like, this is back when they had like the VHS cassette.
Yeah, I remember. I
Um,
remember. Yep.
and
Mhm.
I think it was like when I was like 9 or 10, probably 9,
Mhm.
when we moved up to Connecticut. I
Mhm.
found one of those cassettes, and
Mm.
going into the stores. I remember being, when I was in the South Bronx,
Mhm.
going into the grocery stores. They had, like, all the way in the back, they had like the Hustler magazine and all that.
Yeah.
Peep
But
those
you
too.
Oh yeah, but you know what's crazy though? Not to cut you off. Remember how they ain't even try to hide them, man. They used to put like a thin piece of like brown paper in front of it. Like, you gonna do that as a kid?
Listen,
Like, move it up, move it out the way, and be like,
yeah, I remember, because back then, when I moved, 10 years old, is when you have to go rent VHS, right?
yep,
But
yep,
it wasn't just Blockbuster, because Blockbuster had Blockbuster, but then there was other little small stores that were doing it too. And I remember they would have like these long curtains, the triple X, and you knew you were, man. You know how many times I went in there to peek,
yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh.
good over here. um, and then
Listen, listen. You see that? You see that? It's no more, no more.
um, I remember with the black box,
Mhm.
I remember watching HBO late at night, Taxi Cab Confessions. I remember
Oh yeah.
watching like Cinemax, late night Cinemax.
Yeah, yep, yep.
And
Oh gosh, those channels, man.
bro, like,
Bruh.
for me, it got so bad when I was young. It went so bad. For
Mhm,
me, it got so bad when I was younger. Obviously, it got worse as I was older.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
for me, when I was a kid growing up, it was as bad as that. I would rent the pay-per-view movies, and then when the
Oh
film
yeah,
would come in,
yep,
my
yep.
mom be like, "Who are-" in Spanish? "Who are that?" I'm like, "Not me. I don't know. Maybe my brothers. I don't know. Wasn't me." Like, oh man, like,
Wow, man.
people don't
Jeez.
people don't realize um how difficult it is to get away from that.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I almost went through a divorce with it.
Mm,
My wife
yeah,
told me, "Yo, you enough is enough. Like, it's
yeah.
cool, but every single day, constantly, this is all I." Because she literally took my like computer one day and just was searching like the history. She was like, "Really? What's all this?" I was like, "Oh snap!"
Yeah.
Like, and who do
Yeah.
I blame? Like, I was ready to snitch on
mm,
somebody. I didn't know who to snitch on. So I'm like,
Right.
oh man,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. We definitely got a lot to talk about offline, bro.
I
Definitely. Yeah.
I I stopped for a while
Mm,
and I went back in it. But this is
yeah.
when I kind of like backslid from the church too.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I got saved in 2007,
Okay. Dang. Okay.
10 years. Um, and then I've been able to go 2, 3, 4 months and then come back in.
Mm,
And um if I could be completely honest, keeping it a buck, every time I fall back in, I would feel bad and say, all right, God, I'm done. I can't do this no more. And I would fall back into another trap. You know, fall back.
Yeah.
And if I could,
Hello.
Hold on, Mason. Hold on.
and if I could be honest, July 9th,
Wow.
day that I got delivered from that spirit, from that Jezebel spirit. And let me tell you, man, even before I went 3 weeks before July 9th with nothing and feeling great, victory. And when I fell in those 3 weeks, it hit me. It was a harder conviction. And I was in a sabbatical, and after the sabbatical, man, it's like God just like, when I was done with the sabbatical, that's when it was just like perfect timing. I was watching a YouTube video of deliverance on casting demons and all that. And the pastor that I was watching, he was casting out demons, and he ended up casting, talking about the spirit of Jezebel. And I felt like I'm at work watching this, and I felt like I literally was gagging, like. And ever since that was July 9th, and ever since then, I have not looked back, to the point where God just keeps strengthening me and strengthening me more and more and more. And that's why that Pixel Love song like hits hard, because this thing right here is dangerous.
It is.
Instagram, TikTok, they throw this all up in your face.
Yeah. Especially Instagram, man. Like when you go to the search section, man.
Oh, it's number 4. I'm like, bro, like really?
Just out there, like bam in your face, like jeez, you can't get around it, man. It's like you go up and you see, it's like, it's crazy, man. And then TikTok is not as bad as Instagram, but it still has some craziness.
Oh no, TikTok. Oh no, don't get it twisted. TikTok is getting worse. I can't spend a lot of time on these social media because I can't. I learned through the spirit that I can't. Like when it's too much, can't.
Yeah, man.
I told a little bit of my story. I didn't want to. Oh well.
That's okay, man. That's all right. That's all right.
So let's stay on that topic, because I know you do a lot to help with that addiction. So 2017, that was like the breaking point for you.
Yeah.
And that's where that song "I Hate You" came. And what's the next step? What happened next?
He flips it over on the first try. He tells the man he doesn't have the money to pay.
So the next step. All right. So I'm sorry, I had to talk to my sons right quick. So what was the question again?
So what was like the next? Because obviously you made a song "I Hate You."
Yeah.
That was the breaking point. That's when things started turning around. Like, what was the next step? Like, how did you finally break free from that? What was the process? Because a lot of let's get straight. Let's get right into some heavy meat, because I know people, even myself, when I was struggling with it, right? I could sit here and I could firmly stand here and say that I've been delivered and set free. No, like that XXX Life no more. That no more.
Amen. Yeah.
What was it that helped you? How did it all turn around for you? Like, what was it? What was that process? Because there's people out here that don't know how to do it. There's believers that don't know how to. I want to say more on Christian men, because I don't talk to female, so I don't know what their struggles are. So I can only speak on the people that I speak to. I know people that struggle with this to this day.
Yeah.
What would you break that down? What was it like? How did you break away from all of it Like, so whoever's listening that's struggling with this, they know that there's a way to break free. Well, we know, but the only way is through Christ, but like through that process, like.
Well, I can't really get into too many details because I'm not ready to share it just as of yet. But what I can say for me, it was definitely a broken heart that for the first time in my life, it helped me realize the damage that I was doing to my marriage. When my wife started to be cold and she wouldn't say I love you back. Like I would say I love you and she would say I know.
Mm.
You know, that hurt. And then, you know, my wife, we were like that time she was upset, we were like roommates more than husband and wife. So whenever she would leave, she would give me a kiss on the forehead and and that's it, you know. And
Wow.
you know, it was at that time I was, like I said, 2017. I was like a rough time, man. And I started, even though my back was against the wall, I started to remember all the things that she was wanting me to do. You know, as far as being a husband, as far as being a father, you know, those things that I didn't want to do because I was lazy, because I had brain fog from porn addiction and stuff like that. You know, I started to do it knowing that my back was literally against the wall. You know, I slowly started spending time with my sons. I started to be more involved, you know, giving them baths and getting their clothes ready. I started to do those things little by little. And gradually my wife, she came around. You know, it was it was tough because she was literally going to go out the door. She was literally out the door, you
Yeah.
know. And I I just did what she wanted me to do. I started doing that. And also what I started to do is I started to go in my backyard and I started to the story of Jericho, when they marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times.
Mhm.
What I would do is I would go around my yard and I would pray for different things that was going on. Like I would pray for my mind, I would pray for my heart, and then I would do the same for my wife. I would pray for her mind and her heart, and I would walk around 7 times. And I tell you, man, it was that was a painful time, man. It's like sometimes I would find myself in the car crying, man, like hard, because seeing my life fall apart, and it was nobody's fault but mine, you know, because I knew what this addiction was doing, but then again, I didn't know. So it was like a back and forth, you know. Like I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know to the extent of the damage that I've done. And so, you know, as you know, I was going through that, you know, I would sit in the car and I would like cry, and I would be like, you know what, God, I leave it in your hands. I can't, I don't know where we're gonna go from here, but I'll leave it in your hands and trust you. And I'm talking about like, this is like, I would say, a hurtful faith. Like I'm broken, like I'm literally broken, man. But at the same time, I didn't want to show it because I didn't want to seem weak or desperate. So it was kind of like pride was a mixture of pride and pain together, you know? And yeah, that was a tough year, man. Um, Never want to go back there. Never want to go back there, man.
Um, Pride. That's an ugly word. Um,
Yeah.
I think we all struggle with it at some point.
Hmm.
So after being brokenhearted to I can't see, I'm listening to you and I can't, I'll go crazy. Like telling my wife I love you and just getting nervous. I'll go crazy. I'll go crazy. So I could just imagine. I could just imagine. I get upset when we in an argument and I say, all right, bye. She's like, all right, bye. I don't get like an I love you. Like I get mad at that. I go into the car and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry that I blah blah blah. I love you just to get the I love you. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
um. So after that moment,
Mhm.
you said that you started praying. I think that's so powerful that you started praying like the walls of Jericho. That I
Mhm.
think that's so powerful because
Amen.
um yo, the Bible tells us to pray in everything.
Mhm.
You know, pray with
Yep.
everything at all times. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing here, but we're supposed to pray
Oh yeah.
about everything.
Yeah.
Um, the fact
Oh yeah.
that you use that analogy to the walls of Jericho,
Yeah.
that's so crazy because if people that don't know the story about the walls of Jericho, God gave Joshua and the Israelites to go and walk the walls of Jericho 7 times, and on the seventh time to yell, scream, blow the trumpets, and after that
Mhm.
the walls came tumbling down, and they
Mhm.
went in and they took victory.
Yep. Mm.
Oh, that's so powerful. Um,
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah.
you. Because then after that, everything
Mhm.
started changing.
Yep.
It's like the
Amen.
walls
Mhm.
literally came tumbling down.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really, my situation really changed.
Explain that, like get into that. Like, what
Okay.
was the process of the healing? Obviously, there was a healing process. Obviously,
Mhm.
there was a restoration process. But like, what was it that like that healing process? What was it like? Like, what can you give? What advice can you give people that are going through this
Mm.
for that healing process? Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Sounded better in my head.
Um, yeah, yeah. I know. It always happens like that. What I would say is, is take your time, do what you gotta to get the love from your spouse. It requires being persistent, and it requires just continuing to stay before the Lord and seeking his advice, and praying nonstop, praying that you will be strengthened, praying that your spouse will be strengthened, and that that God will intervene and he would take control. You know, I relied heavily on God at like never before when I was going through that. I was doing that, and also I was doing research and stuff like that. I was researching as to how the research on how to communicate better, on how to be a better father. Research, it helps too. you know um Getting help, like I didn't really get counseling, to be honest with you. I probably could have used it, but the way God came through for me, it was just it was a blessing in itself. And yeah, just staying persistent and just doing what you're supposed to do. you know um Everybody's different. Every woman is different. Some women may take longer than others. But another thing I would say is just still, and treat her as such. And treat her as your wife. Even when she get mad and she lash out at you, as hard as it may seem, you want to get the last word, you want to shut her down. Don't. I'm reminded what Jesus said: with loving kindness have I drawn thee. With loving kindness.
Mhm.
So as hard as it may be, you gotta hold your tongue. You gotta hold your tongue, because the thing about it is we have to remember that our wives rely on us. You know, we're not only the men of the house, but you know, we we're not only the men of the house, but we have to tend to their emotional needs as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have to tend to their emotional needs because they are our helpmeet. You know, so they want to feel secure. They want to know that, you know, you're the man of the house, I could fall back on you. You know, these are the things that I wish I knew earlier in my marriage. You know, I would bring in the money, you know, as my wife would bring in the money, but, you know, tending to her emotional needs, I didn't do that. You know, I was, you know, I wasn't really the man of the house that I should have been, holding it down. I was just coming, you know, just, you know, I'm bringing the money. So that's all I need to do. Bring in the money and you be happy. But that's a wrong mind frame. That's the a terrible mind frame to have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's how the world tries to condition
Yes. Oh yeah.
most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So,
you have a podcast, right?
well, I'm working on it now. I'm actually trying to get a web. I want to get the website done, and I got, you know, I've gotten some episodes written. So I'm trying to push for November, God's willing. Just
Okay.
need to do a couple more things.
Okay.
So
Um,
yeah.
you want to give a little, I mean, you don't have to. You want to give a little bit of description of what the focus of the podcast is going to be
Oh
like?
yeah, sure. Yeah, that's no problem, man. So you know, the podcast is basically going to be, you know, about me, you know, just telling my story of what I've been through, and other things I observed, like how porn was for us and how it is now for the young people. You know, just different subjects on it. I don't want to. I'm not going to be like, you know, a super scientific person. Well, statistics show this and statistics show that. It's just, you know, a real talk about it. You know, like, you know, just real talk, just laying it out there, like uh, how porn, you know, is affecting the church, because, you know, people don't realize it. They don't talk about it a lot in the church, if at all. The church don't talk about this. And there's brothers and sisters, me and you both know, that are struggling with it, but because it's the type of addiction that causes you to be ashamed, and you don't want people to know, because you don't want people to look down on you, or you don't want to lose influence, and so you stay bound because of, you know, the fear of man, the fear of what you'll lose, you know. And so I think that's probably one of the couple of many reasons why some of the people in the church don't want to talk about it, you know. And I even, you know, I'm even, you know, I'm not putting too many ideas out there, but just how even maybe a episode where I'm talking to leaders as to how to deal with members once you find out that members have a porno sex addiction,
Yeah.
you know, because what I seen is sometimes the older saints, they don't know how to deal with different generations. They, you know, they tend to deal with the generation like how they were dealt with, and every generation is different. Every generation is different. You can't deal with the younger generation how you were dealt with. That doesn't work, you know. And so we had to be, I'm gonna say it like this, you have to be led by the Spirit of God as to how to deal with certain people, because, you know, if you're not careful, you could cause that person to binge on it, you know, because, you know, one of the triggers is, you know, being hurt. You know what I'm saying? You go to it to, you know, to escape hurt, to escape disappointments and different things like that. So you could imagine, you know, you getting shut down by, you know, a leader hard, and it's like,
Yep.
because one thing I'm gonna say too is, pointing the finger. I'm like, you should have known better. You should have did. You should have did it. You should have did it. Listen, a
Yep.
person knows because they make the decision to do it.
Mhm. Facts.
So they shouldn't be reminded of what they shouldn't have done because they made the decision to do it. But that's neither here or there. I'm not gonna get into that. But that's the different subjects that I'll probably be talking about and stuff like that. I definitely can't wait. I'm definitely excited about it, man. I just can't wait.
Well,
And
I can't wait because if
right.
we're going heavy with it,
Mhm.
like you do in the music, I can't wait because it's. So I'm gonna say it. You know what? I'm gonna say it.
Mhm.
Now we wait. I'll wait. I'll talk to you. The Holy
Yeah.
Spirit just told me to stay quiet. I'll talk to
Yeah.
you afterward.
Yeah. We'll do a little offline, man.
So I want to be able to get you back on the show
Okay.
after the podcast drops.
Okay. Definitely.
I want to hear a couple episodes, and then I want to dive back into that.
Mhm.
What advice? All right, well, okay. So the other day, I got really upset.
Okay.
And I believe it was DJ Roy, my boy DJ Royal Love. I think it was him that I spoke to him about it. I know I told my wife about this too.
Okay.
I remember growing up,
Mhm.
porn was not that easy. It wasn't easy, wasn't accessible.
No.
As
Oh no, it wasn't.
it
It
was
was
like
not.
you had to pay crazy amount of money. You have that one person that worked for the cable company that came, hooked up your box, gave you the unlimited everything.
Yeah. Oh
Review,
gosh, yeah.
sneak it, go to
Mhm.
7-Eleven, sneak a couple, whatever.
Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
And as time went on and the internet became such a hot commodity,
Yeah.
it started with, I believe, it started with AIM. For
Mhm.
y'all young bucks that don't know what AIM is, that was like your DM back in the 90s.
Yep. Yep. AOL.
That was the 90s DMs.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
AOL.
Chat lines. Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude, I was acting a fool on those things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What?
And that's how that whole thing started.
Mhm.
I think. And then you ended up getting the free porn sites. I'm not going to sit here and tell the names of because I'm
Yeah.
not going to
Yeah.
promote it.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about, man. Oh my gosh.
The free porn sites
Mhm.
that it took off.
Yeah, it did, man.
Free joints took off. And
Oh
then,
yeah.
but then now, if you look at it, I heard somebody read about an article. I heard on the podcast about an article,
Mm.
and it really got me upset.
Mm.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the world went from paying for porn
Mhm.
to not paying for porn
Right.
to paying again. What's crazy is, and I'll keep it a buck. What's crazy and that gets me, I don't understand. I want to rip, like, I have a bald head. If I could grow hair to tear it out, I would. Like, what I don't understand is in this article, homegirl was talking. This is when they were banning the whole explicit whatever on OnlyFans, whatever. Girl was saying in an article that she makes $6,000 a month.
Oh yeah.
On subscriptions. I heard that and I'm like, there's people out here dying that generally need the money and y'all paying like that's one person.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. I'm telling you. You know, they were supposed to they were talking about shutting it down, and they came back and it was like, oh no, we're not going to shut it down, because I guess they realized how much money they were making
Hmm.
off the people, and so they require, I guess, what is that? I think age verification, some weak crap.
Yo, CT, that don't matter, dog, because
Yeah, we know.
so many other apps that are like that,
Yeah.
bro. You could get stuff like that on like the Reddit app and
Mm-hmm.
all these other. It's whatever happened. And I'm gonna sound a little old school. Now I got daughters. I got two daughters,
Right, right.
and I
Yeah.
teach my daughters to dress modestly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
nah, you good. But it's like no matter where you go, like I, I'm speechless.
All right, come to bed. Okay.
I'm speechless.
Mm-hmm.
I love that laugh in the background.
Yeah, that's my 9-year-old.
Great.
Yeah, he's laughing.
I love it. I'm speechless with it, but we're gonna get off of that.
Yeah, yeah.
What we're gonna close this up because I know y'all put the kids to bed and
Yeah, man. Got to see my wife. She had got in from work like I think probably a half an hour ago. So
all right, so we're gonna wrap this up. So
yeah.
real quick,
Uh-huh.
what advice would you give people that are struggling with pornography? What advice would you give them to how to stay away from it, how to stay out of it?
Okay. The advice I'll give is to know your triggers, and what I mean by know your triggers is what are those things that stimulate you? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it videos? Whatever it is that causes triggers that cause you to start lusting. You got to wean yourself off those things. Um, it's tricky. It's very tricky because you can go a couple of days, like you said, a couple of weeks, or even a month without it. But if you do what they call edging, and edging is like when you're taking little peaks here and there, it gradually increases to the point where you just go full blown at it and you start to binge. So it's the best advice I'll say is to stay away from it altogether. Don't even look at it. Even if you catch a quick glimpse of it, don't stay there. Move on to something else. Because the longer you stay there, you're gonna fall. It's like putting a dog in front of a piece of meat, and you tell the dog not to bite it, and you're out of sight. Now, some dogs can do it, but after a while, that hunger gonna give in. They just gonna be like, to tear tear the meat up. And that's the same way when it comes to that's the same way when it comes to the different temptations. You know, um, and I'll also say take notes as to what caused you to fall. Start taking notes, start journaling. I found that what helped me too is when I was journaling as well. I was journaling, how I feel each day. Like if I felt, how I felt tempted, I write about it. Like, what was it that tempted me? Like, oh, that's what it was. It was a video game. Video games are another thing too.
San Andreas,
Gotta be careful.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, not only Grand Theft Auto, but those RPG games where the characters are very detailed.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, like the
yeah,
Fortnite joints and all that. Yeah.
yeah. Definitely got to be careful of those because I mean they got hidden agendas in those. As a matter of fact, I saw the other day it was a cat character in what is that? Animal Crossing, and she was having sex with one of the characters, and and yeah, you'll look it up, and it was becoming a TikTok trend, a TikTok dance. But what the girls didn't realize what she was doing is, missionary. And so these girls are creating a trend over it, doing what they see the cat doing, but they don't realize it because they only see the upper part of the cat. But when I saw the video, I was like, oh my God, it's beaselty. That's beaselty right there. It's sick. But this is the world that we live in, man, where it's just perverse,
Mhm.
you know? And so I would say, stay away from your triggers, man, and don't compromise, man. Don't think that a little peak there, a little peak here, a little peak there, and you'll be fine, because before you know it, it's like that. How the enemy works, the enemy, he's not upfront, you know what I'm saying? He taps at your armor. You find a hole, you tap at that same part of the armor, you know? That's all you need.
Mhm.
Loophole. Needs this small, and he taps at it. Boom, 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 till boom, till your armor's gone, you know?
Yeah, that was.
So I'd say stay away from it altogether, man.
I love that analogy. I love the whole journaling part too. That's
Yeah, journaling helps, man. Journaling, I would say talk to somebody that you can trust, like an accountability partner, and you can seek counseling. You can seek counseling. That is okay. A man and woman of God, you can seek counseling, because listen, I'm gonna tell you like this: to overcome this addiction, you need a team. You need a team. You
yep.
know, fortunately, me and you, we didn't have the team that we had was God, and His Word and other things. But for some people that aren't saved, you need a team. And for my brothers and sisters too, you need a team. It's okay. It's okay to receive counseling. Who you think blessed the person with the ability to be able to take on counseling?
Mhm.
Because counseling is not easy, because you're taking on the issues from another person,
Yep.
and you're finding ways to help them. So all these things are necessary, and also educate yourself on how it affects your mind, on how it affects those that are around you. A lot of times too, what people don't realize is that they don't understand what they're going through. Like, they know what they're going through, but they don't have a full understanding of what they're going through. And when you educate yourself, it gives you insight, like, wow, this is what it's really doing to me, you know? And so just all those different things, and giving it to God, and doing your part, because you got to give it to God, but you got to do your part. You got to sustain. You got to fight against it. Even no matter how hard it may seem, you got to continue to fight. You got to continue to fight. And it's going to be a long uphill battle. It's not going to be easy. You're going to fall sometime. But the idea is to get back up and to continue to fight, no matter how long it takes. It may take you 2 years. It may take you 5 years. It may take you 10, but keep on fighting. Keep on fighting. And also, this last thing I want to leave with you is, know what you're fighting for. Know what you're fighting for, because that helps as well. Know what you're fighting for. And that right there will help you. Like, it'll help kick something in the back of your head when you're about to be tempted. Like, okay, wait a minute. I gotta overcome this thing, because this person is looking up to me. My sons are looking up to me. My daughter is looking up to me. My wife is looking up to me. My husband, whoever it may be. When you look at who cares for you, that helps. It is hard at first, because, like I said, you're most likely you'll be emotionally dead. But when you come down and you look back, and you're like, wow, I really hurt this person, and I want to make it right.
Mhm.
I would say, do your hardest. Don't give up. No matter no matter the voices in your head, don't give up. Continue to fight. I didn't get here overnight. Okay. I didn't get here overnight, But I thank God that I'm here. I thank God I have peace of mind. I thank God that He has intervened. I thank God that I still have my family. And because of that, I'm grateful, and I continue to fight daily. I continue to fight daily. Trust me. I am not out of the woods. I can still be tempted. You know, God forbid I could fall, which, I'm fighting extra hard, extra hard. So I have not arrived. But because God has given me the strength, and because I gave it all to God, and I did my part, I am where I am today. And you can be too. So that's what I want to leave with you.
Man, that's so much, man. Was so powerful. Man, if y'all didn't get anything out of that, go back, rewind it, and play it back slow motion.
Yeah.
Journal, go grab a notebook and go write it down.
Yes, sir.
Brother, man, I truly appreciate you, man. That's
yeah.
There's so much more that I want to talk to about this subject, but I think because you are coming out with the podcast soon, I think I want to leave all the rest of the questions and everything I want to get into detail after the podcast comes out.
Yeah.
Because I think to give it some time to marinate, and we could touch on certain things, because I know there's certain questions I want to ask you that I know if I ask you, it'll be taken away from the podcast.
Yeah.
Most likely, because I kind of, when you say you didn't want to give too much and then you gave a little bit, I was like, oh, okay, I see what he means.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait. I cannot wait. That's going to
definitely, man. Definitely make a note of it, man, so we can definitely can reconvene on that, man, for sure.
For sure. Trust me. Trust me. Oh, my brother, I'm gonna let you go. I know
all right, man.
Send to your family. Again, thank you so much for coming on. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, which is CT Psalmist, as you see here. That's my artist page. I'm on Twitter, same thing, CT Psalmist, Facebook, CT Psalmist 860. I'm also, my podcast is also Instagram, XXX Life No More. And I'm on Twitter, the same thing, XXX Life No More. When you once you type it in, you'll see my logo with the 3 black X's with the hammer smashing the middle one with a gold circle. So that's where you can find me at. And I'm on all musical digital outlets. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Oh, one last question.
Yeah.
We get any merch soon?
Yes. Yeah, I'm working. Yeah, I'm doing I'm working on a lot of things. So, you never want to talk about what you don't have ready yet and stuff like that. I kind of move like Nehemiah. When he surveyed the land at night, he didn't tell anybody, and it's just best to do it that way.
Sometimes you got to do it that way.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely got a lot of things in the works. So
that's what's up.
Yes, sir.
Again, thank you. And that wraps it up. Thank you, everybody, for watching Keeping It a Buck with your boy Honor here with my special guest, CT Psalmist. And I'm still working on this outro. We'll probably get it done right of written formula by season 2, hopefully. But thank y'all, everybody, and make sure y'all subscribe, man. I love y'all, everybody, and God bless. And y'all already know who it is. Peace.
All right. Peace. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for watching Keeping It a Buck on the Laughatlifeo Network. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button. Because remember, every other Friday, we drop a new episode. And you don't want to miss our next episode. Man, you don't want to miss it. But while you at it, make sure you go to eyesonyouthclothing.com. So that way you can get your Laughatlifeo gear. Because, you got to stay Laughatlifeo geared up. See what I did there? Anyways, man, thank you for watching, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace.